What's up, guys? It's a Wednesday night, and came upstairs. Been quite a week, but I came upstairs, started playing some records, started going through some stuff, and decided to jump on the internet there a little bit. And long story short, I found just two messages. I really don't get to check messages on YouTube because I never get notifications that they're there. If I get a message, through there, I just don't think about it, But and one was pretty old, and the other one was, sent recently, I guess, within at least the last 2 weeks. But they both kind of asked the same question, and all these thoughts rushed into my head where I think I might have a video. But it was, why don't you talk about Marvel Comics? And I knew exactly what they were talking about. They were pretty specific. And they're wanting to know why I don't review the comic books or talking about things. Well, Howler Mouse, you're making a video talking about it now. Yeah, we can play around with the hypocrisy there and stuff. But just to give everybody a little bit of reference in case they're watching this video in the future and stuff, recent events with Marvel is that their sales have declined. We had X-Men Gold #1 come out, and the artist hid some very bad things in there, He got more or less fired, said his career was over, everything like that. There was a retail summit where people who actually sell comics went and told Marvel, what's not working, at least what they see in their stores and feedback from the customers, and Marvel spun it around to where it was like people just don't want diversity and they don't want, lead females in comics. And, they went from the House of Ideas to the House of Spin. And I could go on and on. There's all sorts of things. And right now we have Secret Empire starting, where, basically Cap was always supposed to have been a double agent for Hydra. Hydra are Nazis. That's what they always were. And people are up in arms to the point that I think it was today that Marvel was able to release a statement through ABC News pretty much giving away the ending of the Secret Empire crossover because of the backlash after being tone deaf for months. So why don't I talk about all this stuff and everything like that? Well, it's because I've been seeing it coming for almost 2 years, if not more. I didn't go back and look at my videos and stuff, right? And also, what Marvel has done is worse than having me upset with anything that they've done or have a lot of opinions on a few things, but it's created a sense of indifference towards them, which is the worst thing you can do if you're selling a product, is have no opinion, have no reaction, like you're just burnt, you're spent, you moved on, life has gone on, you guys messed up, you have put a black eye on a company that was just the pinnacle of they were the House of Ideas, the diversity of ideas and things like that. So that catches up to where we're at and stuff. So there's a couple reasons I just don't talk about them. Yes, I do read some of the books. Mark with a Mouth shot me a website probably about a year ago where you can go and read some the new comics for free. I would pop in there and look at it every now and then, read a few things. Just to see if I wanted to go buy them. I didn't really, it's not so much I didn't take advantage of it for any noble reasons, it's just that I like having a comic book in my hands. I enjoy it more like that. And then I've read a few books actually in the shops when I've made it to one and stuff, and they're just horrible with what they're doing. Yeah, I am sort of informed, and you can't get away from the news, the comic book news that's out there and stuff, right? So the first reason is I saw it coming. You can go all the way back to where they censored a cover with the Joker standing behind a very freaked out Batgirl while he spreads paint or something, putting a smiley face on her. And it always starts with a foothold. A lot of people defended this. A lot of people didn't think it was a big deal. A lot of people did speak up. I ended up getting, again, I'm like a broke record, Vox.com sort of came after me, and I got quoted in Entertainment Weekly over it. And then over the years it was like downhill from there. Once you get a foothold, this thing snowballs. They have bragging rights. They feel like they accomplished something, And there's a lot of people who are like, well, the artist agreed to take the there was a couple of comic book covers that ended up getting took down, not put on the books. So they put out things saying that the artist agreed to do it, or he thought it was a good idea and stuff. Well, no, it wasn't, because that's how we got where we are today. And I'm not being overly dramatic here or anything like that, but you know, thank goodness this is just comic books not happening in the real world, because we went from censoring a comic book cover, and yes, it was censorship, to now that Cap is a Nazi, a character created by you know, two Jewish guys and fighting Hitler. You know, I mean, that's where Captain America came from before we even went into the war. Front and center, he's punching Hitler, and then we ended up in the war about a year later. You know, so that's what makes Cap a little bit different than just being a comic book. You know, it's his roots and where he comes from, and Marvel turns around and completely craps on that, exactly like they have all the characters that they built up Marvel on. You know. So after watching that over the years, and Marvel being tone deaf and insulting fans, including me, making someone that is basically making me, you know, person who buys the comics, I happen to be middle-aged and, you know, white, and even worse, I'm from the South, even though I'm in the Appalachian Mountains, which is completely different than the South for those that have traveled or spent any time here. You know, you patterned me as the bad guy. You know, do I take it personal? Well, it's kind of hard not to when you're wanting the money out of my hand. It doesn't like eat at me when I'm driving to work or hanging out or doing anything. But now when I pick up a Marvel comic, all these little things you've done kind of come back, and I just set it down and go on. I don't need it, you know. So congratulations. The second, I don't even know what number I'm on now, second or third thing or whatever, right, is the fact that I talked about quitting social media, cut way back from it and stuff because of Twitter. Now, you know, Twitter to me, Twitter is a tool. So I hate saying that the actual site or Twitter and saying this, but it seems like 95% of the people that I have run across on Twitter, or things that I've read, not everybody, but 95% of the people and stuff like that, is a garbage dump. Why people feel the need, I mean, more power to them. This is what makes them happy, and this is what they want to do. I'm not passing the judgment. It's a personal accountability about what I want to participate in, what I want to look at. Okay? So it is my choice, you know. But, you know, you get on there and people are trying to argue within so many characters. You know, you only have a certain amount of space there, 120, 140. I don't give a fuck. I don't, you know. And I just see people going back and forth, and it's just a garbage dump of just ridiculous stuff. It comes off more like, look at me, how many likes can I get? How many followers can I get? You've heard all this before. You know, but you have people like Dan Slott. You have people like Brian Michael Bendis, Nick Spencer now, a little bit of Mark Waid in there, and I saw a little bit of Fabian Nzinza because I did, you know, look it up while I was in the bathroom at work, you know, flipping through there and stuff like that. Then got right off and stuff. Tone deaf, telling fans they don't, you know, they don't like being told that they don't understand comics. They're like, if I saw it in actual, they just don't get it. And the way they talk to fans and stuff is just unbelievable. These are the people that are making, these are the people buying your books and helping you get a paycheck, and you're just like attacking them and going after them and acting like you're some kind of victim and stuff that you turned all the way up. You know, if you all the abuse we get and stuff. Well, if you're getting that much abuse that you have to talk to each other and get on Twitter, well, quit Twitter. Number one. Number two, if you're tone deaf to the criticism you're getting, I have seen people attack them, but I have been seeing, I also went through some threads where people were trying to talk to them. You made yourself accessible, you know, you're not having a two-way conversation, you're talking at people, and then you ignore them and you go on and they start insulting them, and they were comparing it to like food. If you go in and you eat, it doesn't mean you understand cooking. Well, if the chef came out and says something to you like that at a restaurant, you know, I think you're going to go to another restaurant, which is what a lot of people are doing, because now I have seen people just waving the flag for Rebirth, but even more for Image. They say that's where it's at. Okay, and another reason I don't really talk about Marvel is because, you know, last summer I did my videos on them. That stuff came from the heart. It was reactionary. All the thoughts came together. There was a big picture that I had been watching since they started censoring comic book covers, and I said what I had to say. I didn't really want to repeat myself. Now there's other channels that were doing that before that, I found out, and now there's a lot more channels criticizing Marvel and talking about what's going on in the books and stuff. Some do a fantastic job. Some put in time on those videos that I just don't have the time and, to be honest, the interest in making the videos like they do. And then I've seen people where I just sort of want to throw in a few things because they're doing just enough to get a conversation going, and I want to throw in some history there. And then I see people where it's just clickbait and a character or whatever they're doing, and you just kind of facepalm, and people catch on to that really quick, and they just eventually just don't, you know why they're there and why they're doing it. It's a fad. They're part of it. They're not going to be able to maintain those channels, and they're going to eventually go away, stuff like that. So yeah, you've got a broad spectrum out there to pick from. Okay, so there's, and I'm not going to go actually waste the money on these horrible comics that Marvel is putting out to do a YouTube video. It's being said. I started kind of going down that road a little bit here, getting preaching and stuff, but I wanted to pull back and leave some kind of integrity with the channel and stuff, right? When you collect comics as long as I have, and you live through some of the history of the comic books, and there was a history before that, and I'm talking about in the comics and outside of the comics, people that create the comics and the things you see as the fan interviews and things like that. We're living in a history right now, and it's really odd because, like I said before, I've said years before, comics kind of reflect the society that's out there, and they've kind of abandoned that. In the real world, nobody is worried about if Wonder Woman has armpit hair in the movies. Nobody is really worried about all these little things where it feels like people are looking for a microscope and they want to attack something big out there, like a big budget movie coming out, in order to get their cause to go forward and to get attention to whatever movement or group they're a part of. Okay, it's a very old tactic where you give people a common enemy and everybody rallies behind you. Then you can say, give me your money so we can have money to fight them. Certain churches and religions did it with like heavy metal back in the day. They did it with Elvis. They did it with the Beatles. That's evil. We need money to fight them. Give me your money. Okay? And that's kind of what history is repeating itself and stuff, right? So basically, that's why I don't talk about Marvel comics, and why I don't. And the biggest reason is, yes, I'm down on these books, right? I don't spend my money on them. I'm indifferent to them to a certain extent, right? But the thing about it is that there is still that cliche you've heard that bad publicity is better than no publicity. So, well, you're going to get no publicity here, is how I see it. What was it, a year ago or 2 years ago? I remember seeing news sites, CNN and Fox News and all that, reporting that some hackers had gotten into the cloud of, for celebrities, and they got a bunch of personal nude pictures off of their cell phones, and there's going to be a lawsuit here, and this person had this to say about it. It's just disgusting and all this stuff. Well, you're advertising that it's out there, and I personally never would have known it was out there if you hadn't said it. There's a thing about where you're complaining about something, saying that this is bad. Can you believe this happened to them? But you're the one giving them more exposure. You're doing it for clicks and ratings and all this stuff, and you wake up. Just to wake up, people. And I don't want to give them that, because I heard something in a TV show one time, probably like a Will and Grace or something. Some show I didn't really watch regularly, And I remember hearing a line that stuck out in my head because it sounded like it was from a Tennessee Williams play, which I thought was like, well, that's cool that they did that. But it was basically, I'd hate for people to find out, but I'd love to be the one to tell you. And that's what I feel like is kind of going on with some of this stuff, right? So if I talk about these books and complain about them and stuff. It's just going to bring across a curiosity where somebody wants to go and check them out. And I have now helped them make a buck on an overpriced book, you know. And plus, Marvel's business practices are really starting to come out. Things that, as a fan of a comic book reader who wants to enjoy stories and characters and have some emotional stories in there, or have some gigantic $100 million budget movie that comes out of somebody's hand there in a book and stuff like that, that's kind of lost when you start seeing the dirty laundry and having this company lie to you, and you start associating that with their books, kind of coming full circle with what I started saying at the beginning of this video. Just the things I associate with Marvel now, when I pick up one of their newer books and stuff, I just have to put it down. It just reminds me of all the ridiculous, insulting things that they have done over the years now is in my hands when I hold one of their books, which is just sad. A very sad way to go. You know, it's not about the characters and stuff. And of course, I could go on with what they've done in the books and to the characters, and this the pandering, and that's all it is a pandering going on. And then you have these creators now that I've seen the worst of them, in my opinion, kind of in Twitter and in interviews and things like that. And let's get existential here, maybe a little philosophical. I don't know why we're here. I don't know why I'm here. But I do know that I was not here to have a middle-aged comic book writer who sits on Twitter arguing with people, policing his wall, telling people what they can and can't have. They were not here. I'm not here to. I know I was not here. Put here. I know I was not put here to have them tell me how to think, what to like, what to vote, and that, you know, my opinions, you know, just don't count because, you know, I don't know comics.